Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming today. This is number 18 of the Freshly Certified webinar series, presented to you, of course, by the RGD. And today's contestants are all motion designers. So for once, we're featuring motion design projects for this Freshly Certified. To introduce myself, my name is Julian Brown. I'm the owner of On the Chase, which is a self-employed motion design studio that I've been running since 2009. Only YouTube predates me and the iPhone, I guess. But yeah, I've been doing this for a while, and it's really exciting to see some new RGDs joining who have some awesome stuff to show in this regard. And I am also on the RGD board of directors. I'm currently the VP of design. So I work with all the different partners who volunteer their lovely services to do stuff for the RGD. For those of you who might be completely new to the RGD, we are a nonprofit professional association supporting the graphic design community. We hold weekly webinars that are free for all of our members. So please consider joining the RGD to connect with fellow designers, access resources, and demonstrate your professionalism and support the community. Obviously, rgd.ca for details. And this is our mission statement here. Through RGD, designers exchange ideas, educate, inspire, set professional standards, and build a strong, supportive community dedicated to advocating for the value of design. And a little bit about the certification process to become a registered graphic designer. It's a four-step process: the application, online test, the virtual portfolio presentation, and then your results. So really only three steps that you have to do. I always tell people it is extremely straightforward. If you are already a professional practicing designer, you will be very surprised by how much of it is just like a common knowledge and sense for the working world of designers. If you're a student, if you're just starting out, it might require a little more prep or study. Getting your case studies together is usually one of the biggest hurdles for people, and we all need a good excuse to do that more properly and more often. So the stuff that you're going to see today is basically the third step from the process from these three wonderful people. So we're going to get their projects that they presented during that virtual portfolio presentation portion of their certification, which they recently went through. I don't know how recently, maybe they can say that in their presentations, but we will get to our presenters. So three recently certified RGDs, and each one is going to walk us through their case studies, talk about tips and lessons and reflections from their experience getting certified. And of course, if you have any questions for the presenters, please feel free to pop them in the Q&A box anytime during the session, and then we will do our best to make time for Q&A at the end. Now, I know Abbas just jumped on. Are you cool to present first?
Hello, yes, of course, I am ready. How are you?
Hey, we had you first in the list. I know we didn't get prepped beforehand. Are you okay to go first for your presentation?
Yes,
Good.
I am
Okay.
okay.
He's a creative and advertising director, commercial film director, and visual communication expert with over 18 years of experience in branding, media, and motion. He's the founder of Sketch Iraq, where he leads the agency as creative director and collaborates with global brands, including Kareem, Snapchat, and Zayn Iraq. Off to you, Abbas.
Thank you for this nice introduction. I will share my screen now. Uh, I just have, sorry for that. Okay, I will start now. Did you see my screen? Okay.
Yeah, looks good to me.
Okay. I will present my project called Social Media Bundle. It's for companies called Zain Iraq. It's largest telecom from Middle East. This company provides the internet service in 7 or 8 countries in Middle East. And this project for collaboration with Bundle for Internet, I will jump for the timeline of a project. I know this very, very big project for me. It's take about 3 months, sorry, 4 months. The good part of this project, we work a lot of pre-production stuff, especially in 3D modeling and concept, and developed the final result. The project is mixing between graphic, real footage, and 3D motion graphic. And our shooting is like about 1.5 days, like maximum 2 days in shooting. But the longest part is post-production. I will explain why it takes a lot of time and how to prepare this project to get the final result. Okay. I will explain some information about this project. We have commercial for social media, and we need to make this commercial. We should consider this as we have like 6 versions in same commercial. That means we need to think how we can make short cuts from this TV commercial. Plus, we have a lot of adaptation size. For example, we need this commercial play with YouTube, TV channel, like Snapchat, Instagram, Meta, any related channels for social media. That means we should consider the size, duration, and adaptation of content overall. Our idea to make this content, plus the hard part, we need to make this commercial. It's like one shot. No need to make cuts or change the angle. We need one considering this as a one TV and one camera movement. It's very hard as a technique, and we do it in a good way. This is our first reference. I chose this style because we love the brand have a lot of great color. The brand have 7 colors as a main palette, and we use it in social media background and reflect the social media branding. I will choose this reference as just to imagine how it look like the 3D environment. Then, sorry for this, my drawing. It's very basic drawing. I just drawing my idea how to imagine the commercial as a framing. I just drawing, I know I am not good in this, just drawing the shape, and I will working again with my storyboard artists to make it very professional and explain what I need in my framing. Then each frame, I make full framing of this shot or storyboard, explain what I do here, how the actor moving, how the icon showing, and animated, plus how the camera moving. I explain everything. You can see this second shot. I explain everything, how this girl opened the umbrella, how this 2 couples show their ring. I explain everything, and I have some reference to inform my team and my client what I expect to finalize this TVC. Then when I finish one frame, I extend this overall as a TV screenshot, storyboard. I drawing all this frame by frame. We use all the social media platform. For example, this is Facebook, and this is Snapchat, this Viber as for communication. And I think this Instagram, yes, YouTube and WhatsApp. Then we will jump for hard part. This is first storyboard sketch. This is first 3D drafting modeling, and this is first 3D rendering. This is first 3D compositioning, and we developed a lot of lighting with composition, with 3D props, and we get this as a final result of each frame. When we have this frame, we extend to finish all platform. I think we have only missing one frame, TikTok, but you imagine what we do. We just make a composition for each platform. I think yes, everything is here. Then this is first a draft as animatic storyboard. This is just for testing of camera angle, how we should make the movement of character, how we should make the camera movement and transition between scene. Then I will make tests with all actors as a rehearsal. We have each platform about 6 to 7 characters. We shot a lot of takes and training a lot of movement, and we use the audio jungle for overall TVC to sync the audio with movement from character and camera. The rehearsal take about 1 week. Each group take about 1 day for training, and you can see the final result in next days. Okay. Now in this frame, we have this basic composition between 3D and our actor. This is final footage from camera, and this first draft for mixing between 3D and character. And this is behind the scene. You can see the final production here. And if you notice this guideline of cropping for social media, this is our way to considering the framing when you cut from 16:9 to 9:16, just for know our frame how to fit of social media. This means this is first copy of TBC. It's our first draft, and I will let you to watch it. Okay. Before I jump to final result, I just mentioned when I see this result, okay, I know it's take about 4 months, but I am not happy with this result. I sent this copy to client and I asked him just to give me 1 week to just finalize the copy. But at the end, I rebuilt this uh, entire communication, or sorry, TVC from scratch. I built it. I just delete this version and I do the new version of this because I know it's this not good at rendering, not good at uh, color correction, color gradient, gloss motion and composition. But I have experience to do this again. For that, I just ask my client to give me 1 week. And actually, I'm happy to ask that because now you will uh, show the final result of this project.
Unfortunately, the music's not coming through, but obviously the visuals look incredible.
I will not play this, but you should consider this as adaptation size, same TV commercial, but you find this is have a lot of high size. You can find this adaptation for social media, and thank you for watching this project.
Hey, incredible work. That's a
Thank
fantastic
you,
project.
Julia. Thank you.
Yeah. I got some questions for you in the Q&A,
Okay.
but we will get to that after. So now we'll switch over to our next presenter, Janine. Janine is a creative problem solver who specializes in motion graphics. Her award-winning work as a senior designer at Significant Other often transforms the most simple design element into a memorable moment of or interaction full of surprise and delight. That's very nice, Janine. Over to you to present your project.
Thank you so much. Hi everyone. My name's Janine. I'm located in Coburg, Ontario. But as Julian said, I'm a senior designer at an agency called Significant Other, which is based out of Toronto. But I work fully remote. And I just celebrated my 10-year anniversary with them. I started as an intern in 2016 during my Bachelor's of Design program at York University and Sheridan College. But all of the designers on my team got certified last spring, and I'm so glad that we did it. I've loved attending the RGD webinars and the various events over the last year, and I've also contributed to a bunch of articles on their site, which has been very fun. So today I'll be talking about one of my case studies for my application, which is Select Food Products, also known as just Select. For this project, I was the lead designer for brand strategy, visual identity design, motion graphics, environmental graphics, and packaging design. So even though this is overall a branding project, a key component was the brand video. I worked with a team that consisted of a creative director, a project manager, and two junior designers that provided some design support. So each case study needs to include context, process, and solution for your application. And we'll start with context around the brand and what the project needed to achieve. So Select has been producing sauces, salad dressings, condiments for different sectors like co-manufacture, retail, and food service. And they went under new leadership. So the company wanted to mark the era through a fresh new visual identity that would signal innovation, growth, and a bold future. So this is what their original brand looked like. The client wanted the new brand to have a distinctive identity that stood out against competitors. They wanted it to be an evolution from their current brand that didn't alienate their audiences, which consisted of new potential clients as well as existing clients and employees. And they wanted it to feel very timeless and fresh for years to come. It also needed to work across a full range of contexts, both for print and digital, so it needed to be very versatile. There was a lot of deliverables for this project. It included brand guidelines with a new logo, color palette, and typefaces, the introductory video, a PowerPoint deck, some employee t-shirts, some environmental graphics and signage, and then packaging labels. So we're going to get into the process side of the project. We began our research and analysis phase by reviewing Select's current brand strategy and visual identity, which included collecting their current collateral, like packaging labels. And we also visited their office and production floors to photograph signage and wayfinding. But besides the logo, a few labels, and signs, there wasn't a lot of materials that incorporated consistent branding. So there was definitely an opportunity to inject a fresh look and feel. We then conducted an analysis that identified industry trends and the competitive landscape to help discover opportunities for differentiation. And these were some of the brands that we researched. So that landscape analysis led to the creation of mood boards that conveyed different tones of voices. So this helped Select hone in on a specific visual strategy that best expressed their company's values. There weren't any significant restrictions on the new look and feel for the brand, so there was a lot of freedom to explore a diverse range of styles and aesthetics that would fit their overall goals. They ended up choosing the mood board titled Modern Edge, and this featured clean sans serif typefaces, layered colors and patterns, flat illustrations, and then an expanded palette of bold and approachable colors. And then we get into our concept phase. So this included exploring a wide range of visual metaphors to incorporate into the logo. And one of these initial concepts included the image of a whisk, since it's a tool that's directly related to the processes of making sauces. But metaphorically, it relates to combining their suppliers, their customers, and then themselves together in order to make a great product. And just to note, it's really important to include process work in your case studies because it gives the evaluators better insight into your exploration and helps explain how you make decisions. So here's how we incorporated the whisk with a word mark and how we introduced an expanded color palette. But then we finally landed on this as the final design. We went through so many iterations and refinements, but you can tell from this phase to this phase, we adjusted the proportions of the whisk, the placement, the angle, and so we landed here. So each bold color of the whisk tines, and the tines are the little metal pieces that create the whisk. So each of those colors signifies one of Select's key attributes, and they all intertwine to form a single line representing their purpose, which is to make the best sauces for the world's best brands. So the whisk can be used as a large element on its own, or it can be structured within a box beside the word mark. We wanted to make it very flexible for the wide range of applications needed. The fresh new color palette was inspired by the mother sauces in French cuisine, which serve as the base for a variety of sauces. And we also added in the green and the bright blue to bring some more freshness into the palette. But we carried over that main Select blue to maintain consistency and brand recognition. So this is where we get into the introductory video. And this was an important tool to bridge existing customers and their team members, as well as introduce the brand to new clients. We emphasize the brand values and goals quickly yet comprehensively. And we use bright colors and quick transitions paired with fast music to keep the viewer engaged. And this video won an RGD Branding Award in 2023 in the motion category, which was really exciting. So it's quite a lengthy video, so I'm just gonna go to the next slide where you can see it in a storyboard format. But there is a component of the RGD application where you have to submit a document of images for the case studies. So for motion designers, it can make it a bit difficult to accurately convey the tone or the feeling of the project because it's in that flat image format. But a solution that I found really helpful was to compile multiple frames from the final video in a storyboard format, along with a visual link to the video that's hosted on another site, because this can show the breadth of the information being covered, as well as the diversity of the different scenes of the video. An extension of the visual identity that we created, we did environmental graphics. So we brought the brand to life in various high traffic areas of their office and manufacturing floor. So we did over 1,000 square feet of custom printed high durability vinyl graphics that was applied to hallways, staff lounges, conference rooms, and research labs. And it was across drywall, cinder block, and glass. And then the last part of the project was their packaging. So they have a range of 56 different products in their line. And an important audience we considered when developing the labels were the back of house restaurant employees because they would be the ones interacting with the labels the most. And a large majority of this group are people who use English as a second language. So we wanted to ensure that this group would be able to understand what was in the package without having to rely on the text. And a big content identifier is color. So we spent a lot of time researching the different packages in the industry so we can maintain consistent visual cues. So for example, ranch dressing is usually blue, mayo is usually a yellow. So we wanted to have those patterns carry through our line so it'd be very recognizable. But to account for people who are colorblind, the imagery itself needed to be clear and identifiable enough to communicate what was inside. And it also needed to look delicious and appealing to reflect the quality product that the Select brand values. And then we get to the sachets. So the audience for the sachets was entirely new for Select. The audience was the general consumer who would most likely be unfamiliar with the brand. So they needed to stand out from the rest of the competitor landscape in order for them to be memorable. So we just kept picturing like you go to a fast food restaurant and you see that big container full of sachets. Like, how do we get people to pick the Select ones? So we spent a lot of time in the discovery phase. I have like a whole collection of these sachets like in my kitchen because we collected so many. So we analyzed all the competitor products. We took notes on things like color, brand presentation, imagery, copy, and then developed a strategy on how to best set Select apart, which was to focus on the product inside. So using the texture of the contents and use really large vertically oriented type. Throughout the whole project, we applied professional design principles to create a cohesive, flexible brand system that could scale across various touch points. The client feedback was overwhelmingly positive, highlighting both excitement and pride in the new brand direction. So overall, the results successfully tied back to the original project goals, which was to clearly communicate Select's transformation while positioning the brand for future growth and market leadership. Thank you so much for listening to my case study. I hope it was helpful when considering your own RGD application.
Thank you, Janine. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, that's like a really comprehensive full branding project. And the video is like a footnote.
Yes, yes.
An award-winning footnote.
Award-winning.
That's awesome. I got some more questions for you too, but we will move on to our last presenter, Matt. Matt is a Polish-Canadian illustrator, designer, and animator based in Toronto. I know him from the awesome stuff he posts on Instagram under Gust of Wind Studio. With a background in motion and graphic design, he creates bold, geometric, playful visuals across branding, editorial, packaging, animation, and murals, and he sure does. Okay, Matt, over to you to show your project.
Great. Thank you so much, Julian. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. As Julian said, my name is Mateusz. I'm an illustrator, designer, motion designer. I have an undergrad degree in motion graphics, but over the past 10 years or so, my kind of career went more and more into kind of illustration and design, but motion graphics is still quite a big, like smaller part of what I do, but I still do it kind of all the time. So yeah, I'm just gonna try to share my screen, and hopefully everyone can see my screen. Let's see. Just gonna move this here.
Looks good to me.
Great. Yeah, so I wanted to share a case study of a project that I worked on for the Walrus and Heritage Canada. My role in this project was the illustrator, designer, and motion designer. Essentially, what the project entailed was a bunch of illustrations and a motion piece for an editorial supplement for the Walrus, which talked about 25 years of Bill C-23 in Canada. It was kind of like celebrating the 25th anniversary of that bill. So I started the project by just kind of diving into the research phase, and I was provided the editorial kind of content by the art director, and I familiarized myself with the entire article just to kind of understand the context and what we're talking about. And this kind of layout is what I was provided by the art director. So I had an idea of the layout and a mood board for the kind of art direction that we were going for. And the next step was to kind of also familiarize myself with the storyboard provided by the art director, which kind of formed the foundation for the motion piece. And I was kind of directed to use it as kind of like a jumping point. But the art director was also quite open to my own interpretation of how the story should be told through motion. So the next step was to kind of dive right into sketches. So I do all my sketches digitally on my iPad. So I started with sketching the kind of like opener. That was also gonna have a motion piece. So I talked about some animation ideas, how I kind of imagined that opener to be animating on screen. And then we dived into these like big white dividers for the actual article on the website. So there were 4 dividers that were kind of like scattered throughout the story. And each divider talked about a different aspect of Bill 23, which basically formed the foundation for Marriage Equality Act in Canada. And it was a very interesting project because we're talking about quite a sensitive topic. So we wanted to find a way to talk about these rights and issues that 2S LGBTQI plus communities face in a way that's approachable, but also respectful and engaging. So yeah, we kind of worked on all the sketches together, some icon design as well. And then lastly, I kind of created a slightly more detailed storyboard for the motion piece that was part of the project. And then, yeah, I kind of kept developing this project further. So most of my work is done in vectors in Illustrator. So I jumped into Adobe Illustrator to develop all of these sketches into vector artwork that was also motion ready. I kind of created a color palette that was inspired by the pride flag, but it also had some complementary tones to kind of keep it a little bit more kind of balanced. So these are all the dividers in color. Some icon design that I created for the editorial piece as well. And this was the storyboard that was designed and kind of developed by me. So kind of taking the visual language inspired by the static illustrations and kind of expanding on it through vectors and the motion piece through the storyboard. And then, yeah, the solution was a kind of like a microsite where the entire article lives. So anyone can kind of just like scroll through it to experience all the static pieces, the dividers, as well as the motion piece that was also animated by myself. And yeah, I do have, what else do I have here? Oh, as part of the presentation, I also included a little testimonial from the art director that I worked with. And I believe that is the last slide. I also have the actual motion um, file to share as well. So I'm just gonna try to share that with everybody. And it does have sound, so I hope everyone can hear it.
Unfortunately, the sound's not coming through.
Oh, it's not? Okay. So let me see what else I can do. Maybe it's my share settings. Maybe I'll try sharing again because it worked earlier when I was with Yusuf.
Yeah,
Share.
it was just working in our pre.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm trying to share. Okay, share sound. There we go. Oh, it's not letting me share the sound. Like the tick box is kind of grayed out. So I don't know if it's something to do with the okay,
Oh, we got a
maybe it's
commenter saying that it might be your headphones.
okay. Let me maybe take them off and see if that changes anything. Audio, microphone, speaker, iMac speaker. Let's try again. Share. Yeah, it's still not letting me share sound, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, I can totally share it without the sound. It's just gonna be a little bit out of context because we don't have
Maybe,
the
maybe you
narrative.
can give us the director's commentary as it plays. Give us
Sure.
just a little something about what's passing by.
Okay. Let
Put you
me
on the spot.
just okay. Definitely can't share the sound. Okay. So I'm just gonna make the sound mute so I can talk through it. So yeah, I mean, essentially the animation kind of talks about the history of Bill C-23. So we're kind of talking about what it really was and how it kind of came about in Canada when it was signed, and it's kind of like journey through law, essentially. So then we talked about the kind of benefits that same-sex couples were, fighting for, and how that kind of journey unraveled through the courts. And we're kind of talking about the timeline, at which time of the timeline what happened through the court journeys, and all these kind of different events that contributed to this bill essentially being passed and allowed for equality for same-sex couples. And then we have, oh yeah, then we talked about the kind of, I don't know, like fight from different political parties about what marriage was. So then there was a clause included that marriage is still between a man and a woman. So that's how the bill kind of passed. And then the journey continued until the 2005, where the Marriage Equality Act was finally signed. And Bill said C-23 wasn't flashy, but it was the foundation for equality in Canada. Okay. That was fun. Okay, and yeah, and that's it. So we had the English version and a French version that we developed together. And yeah, I think that is everything. Yeah, I have to share. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening, and I'm sorry that the audio didn't work. I hope I made it work with my own audio here.
That's awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah,
I love the impromptu director's commentary. That worked great.
thank you.
Yeah, if I can have everybody come back on, we can have a Q&A period. Now, I know that Matt has to be the first one to run, so he might have to catch a plane, he said. Somebody's going to design thinkers next week.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any questions specifically for Matt, get them in that box as soon as you can. And I'll open with something that I jotted down during your presentation, Matt. First of all, I thought it was very classic that you had an art director who shared a storyboard with you and then sort of passively aggressively said you didn't have to use it.
Yeah.
That is just about the most classic. Can you talk about sort of that dynamic of like often how these motion projects start? That's someone who doesn't specialize.
Yeah, I think, it really depends. Like sometimes I would actually start with like writing the script with a client who like doesn't have any idea. But since this art director, worked for a design studio, like they had an idea of like how they wanted the story to kind of be told, but then they were also very open to how can I, as like the motion designer, how can I enhance it through motion and my own illustrations? So yeah, we had like a very kind of like basic layout of like what the art director envisioned, and then yeah, it was a very collaborative process. So I was allowed to just kind of like really take it and run with it. And yeah, I mean, in motion design, it often is the case where you either work with another storyboard artist or you just like storyboard everything yourself, depending on the client, budgets, timelines, and all of that. But yeah, because I do a lot of design and illustration myself, I feel very kind of comfortable storyboarding everything and then bringing it into After Effects to make it move.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said that your education was actually motion specific.
Yeah, so I
So
have a
where did you go to school?
in London, UK. The university is called Ravensbourne, and yeah, they have like a motion graphics undergrad program. So I did all my education kind of in After Effects and Illustrator, and then kind of once I graduated, I worked in animation full time, and I was like, you know what, I don't think I have enough patience to do it full time, so let me kind of go into like more design and illustration, but still have motion as part of my toolkit,
Yeah,
essentially.
that's cool. Yeah, because I would say that like the illustration and the color palette, like you mentioned, balancing the palette for that video, not relying on the sort of stereotypical pride flag to limit. That's like absolutely the sort of strength in that piece is like you got these really simplistic elements, but then the way that they all sort of balance and tie together. I mean, you can see the parallels with Abbas's piece too, like
Mhm.
using those various palettes for the different sections and stuff. Um, we do have one question that came in. I've got one for Janine. So they're asking in the video, how did you arrive at the animation you gave the whisk? Was there anything unique about your process making that video with your client, Janine?
That's a great question. Um, when we came up with the whisk visual, the metaphor was the tines intersecting to create one single line. So when we animated it, we wanted to show that that movement of all of them sort of like going in different paths, but eventually like merging into that one. So that was the reasoning behind that animation, just representing the audiences coming together and then going into one line with
Because it
select.
looked a lot like a Marvel timeline or
Oh, did it?
like a alternate timelines all coming
Yes.
together.
Yes, exactly.
Is like it's almost an example. I say this a lot with my motion stuff for juniors. It's like often there's there's the motion of how something actually moves in real life, and there's the more important motion of like how you want to conceptually like convey what you're trying to convey. Clearly, that's not how a whisk actually works in real life, right?
It's very true. Very good point.
And we got another one here. Lori chimed in. Can we talk about the duration of the projects? How long did these take? Now, I know that Abbas, you shared in yours, you had 4 months. I mean, obviously, that's a full production with live shoot and everything.
Yes, it take a lot, but we are very good. We take every day and spend to develop the result. As I know it take a lot, but when you see our timeline, it's like pre-production, production, and post-production start from day one. We already start to build the 3D stuff. It takes a lot of time because when you see each platform has a lot of props, icons, mobile phone platforms take a lot of times. Each platform take about 100 piece of 3D props. Take
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, well, it's relatively rare that you can actually start with the design and the storyboards and the sketching and stuff, and then
Yeah.
get the footage. So often, as motion designers, you're handed footage.
Yes,
Like, oh,
we already start from design. It's the easy way and the best way to start from design. When we finish the design, okay, now what's the next step? Okay, we need to make it as animated. This I know for me the easy way from this project the animated. The hard way take how to collect it they all 3D together, how to make it render as a realistic. I know we are expert in motion, but not take from us a long time, just maybe 1 week. The collected of all of our projects take a lot of time because we need sync with audio jungle, with camera movement, actor movement, transitions take a lot. I think the animation is how to make the brain don't see all the animation because my project have a lot of animation stuff. The camera is moving, actor is moving, props is moving, camera is moving, and we have a transition between each platform. There's a lot of information. We just make very small animation and some props. No, I know we make it have a lot of special animation. Just we need to focus, just to direct your eye where we need to focus.
Yeah. I noticed in the last version you shared, your like doctored up director's cut,
Yes.
very, very nicely color corrected and rendered and everything. But you had added these layers of like hand style animation.
Yes.
It was very much like pulling your eye around and being very precise
Frame
about
by
what was, very cool.
Take
Anyway,
take
paid off
about
wonderfully.
1 week this and
Yeah.
production of this TVC, but it's like for us it's like this is our hook of TVC. When you see something artistic, okay, you should watch it to end.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, to get back to the question about the other two projects, what were the timelines? Matt, you go first. What was the timeline for your explainer?
I mean, it was kind of like on and off. I wasn't working on it like full time every day, but I think from beginning to finish was about maybe 3 or 4 weeks. It was relatively small. It was also like a very small team, just myself and the art directors. So we kind of,
Yeah,
collaborated on it.
that's the same way I work on the bulk of my projects, and
Mhm,
4 to
mhm.
6 weeks is very typical.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not like exclusively all at once sprint.
Yeah, you're kind of on and
Yeah.
off, and yeah.
Janine, how about you?
For me, for the video itself, it was around 2 months. But again, we weren't working on it full time. And we had another version of the video that we had to create we had two different videos that we created at the end, one that was more internal facing and one that was external. So that's where the extra time came in.
Yeah. How long, what was the duration on that brand launch video? Because you sort of clicked through, you were like, we're not going to watch the whole thing.
Oh, it's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very reasonable still. And the internal version was a longer one, or just basically
The internal one was longer because we went through the company values and all the icons that we developed. So I think that was around 3 minutes, 3 minutes 30.
Very cool. So we've got a couple questions. Matt, you answered in the chat about resources and stuff for learning and starting out, and we had another question in the Q&A box. Do you guys each want to take a stab at like when you're starting out, when you're just beginning with motion stuff, what do you sort of recommend using as inputs, to help people find good stuff or to get inspired or to learn, and what to focus on in the early going. Abbas, do you want to go first?
Okay, I think the first step, just we need to make very small animation, practice how to make some stuff animation, like logo maybe. We can start a small project. We have a logo, now how to make it as animated. Very small element, just practice and practice. Maybe when make version 4 or 5, we will see the improvement of animation, and we need added a lot of timing of layers animation. For example, if we have logo and have maybe 3 or 5 layers of shape, we will try to make it sync. This is layer 1 is moving, then second layer, third layer. Just how to make it smooth. We don't need to focus how to make it. Just we need to. For me, the animation we can start as a very basic tools like rotation and scale and position. This is the first way. When we make it very good animation in this basic, you can jump to like hand drawing, or we can make it animation with some effect.
Yeah, I think that's such good advice too, to keep when you're just starting out, keep things short, like literally duration wise. Try something that's 10 seconds long, try something that's 5 seconds long, and don't think I'm going to make a 1.5 minute full length something. I'm going to make an explainer that's 8 minutes long. Like that's probably the single biggest pitfall that I see when I see student work, because you just spread yourself too thin at the beginning when you're learning. Janine, how about you? What do you think about sort of starting out?
For me, I think like I personally started out with like doing little videos on social media, like not doing anything in like a client-facing context, but like, okay, I have a video. How can I add something that makes it a little bit more exciting? So like even just adding a small little animated overlay or like animating text over a part of it, like that is such a good entry point into motion. Even if you're just using the editors on the social media platform, like it'll give you a sense of how timelines work, how pacing works, and then once you like get the feel of it, then you can start doing your research into, okay, what makes like something animated, like what makes that successful. But really, social media is probably a really good way to
Yeah,
start.
that's super interesting. That's like, I mean, that's just a function of when I started, but like those editors were not a thing.
They were not.
And now it's like everybody has access to these basic tools. Um, sorry, to these tools that are like not that basic. You can do so much
It's pretty
inside
cool.
those
Yeah,
editors with your too fat finger. But
it's
um,
pretty crazy.
yeah. Okay, Matt, how about you?
Yeah, I would just like echo everything you guys are saying, and I would say like practice really is like a big part of it, especially in motion, because After Effects, like motion software can get very complex and very technical. So, you know, if you're just like starting out, like don't be afraid to just like do tutorials and just like follow somebody's lead to just like learn the basics of like the technical aspect. So, when you actually get to work on your projects, you have some sort of like technical abilities to kind of turn your ideas into something more tactile. So yeah, like I mean, that's how I learned, just like lots of tutorials and finding things out by accident or by mistake and just like exploring software and yeah, like stay up to date with like a lot of creators on like LinkedIn too, but like Instagram, like Reese Parker is like one of like big animators who like shares a lot of like resources and talks about his like behind the scenes and stuff like that. So there's like a lot of like really useful, free, accessible knowledge out there that we can tap into.
It's it's
Easily.
like so interesting. It's like you want to learn from the stuff on Instagram. It's easy to get very intimidated by the incredibly sexy work you see on there.
Yeah, you see
Something
all
that
the cool
a team
stuff.
of
Yeah.
20 has produced over the course of 4
Yeah.
months or whatever. But
Yeah.
I think we got to wrap things up for today. We're finishing at the hour here. We had one last question about whether the case studies for motion for the RGD application should be more focused on process. And I do think that that is a good sort of route to go. I mean, anytime you're doing a case study, focusing on process and like not even focusing on the technical execution, but as you saw in Janine's presentation, quite a lot of, you know, the strategy of like, why did you pick that? What were you talking about? Did the client drive that or did you drive that? How did you arrive at that together? That sort of stuff is great. And it doesn't have to be projects that you were working directly with the client. You know, you're part of a team. That's okay. As long as you're crediting everything, that's just part of the reality of working when you're a junior. Cool. So yes, thank you so much to all three of you. The work was fabulous. I love that we had three really, really different projects covering explainers and branding and full-fledged production with shoots and everything. So wonderful. There was lots of congrats and very kind words in the chat. So make sure you peek at that before if you missed it. But yeah, that concludes the webinar. Reminder for everybody that RGD has free virtual events weekly for our members. So go to rgd.ca, think about joining, and for sure, think about getting certified properly, just like all these wonderful people did. Okay, everybody have a good day. Bye-bye.